I arrived at CU Boulder in the fall of 2012 with the determination to graduate, become a doctor, and reach and live out the American dream. By the end of the semester, however, my determination was unwavered. Let's just say that the number of unpleasant experiences that I had that very first semester were not on short supply. And I quickly learned that I did not belong. By the end of the semester, I started contemplating the possibility of leaving Boulder, either taking a break or transferring to the University of Colorado, Denver to be closer to home. In researching my options, I became paralyzed. The thought of my parents' pain and my failed attempt to make it tore me apart. My parents are both Mexican immigrants that, like many other immigrants, risked their lives to provide a better tomorrow for both myself and my siblings. So not making it was not an option. Rather than go back home to La Chancla, or worse, my parents' disappointment, I pushed myself to find a new family. By the end of the semester, I found my people, UMAS y Mecha. UMAS stands for United Mexican American Students, and Mecha for Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán. Two student groups that over the years have merged because, let's be honest, competing for brown students was not going to happen. There just wasn't enough. Within a month, my worldview was turned upside down. I learned that my experience with isolation and microaggressions was shared. I learned about the activism of brown, black, and indigenous students during the 1970s. And I also learned about Los Seis de Boulder, 6 Chicano and CU student activists that died in Boulder in 1974 in pursuit of equity, justice, and the right to education. It became clear to me at that moment that folks that looked like me had fought and in some cases even died so I could be in this space. And now there really was no way I was going to leave. Within the next couple of months, I learned that the rest of my newly formed familia had been talking about the possibility of making a summer outreach program for Chicano and Latino students throughout the state of Colorado to become interested and pursue higher education. It was clear that diversity at CU was an issue, and it was even more clear that if those students did not see themselves represented and reflected, nothing was going to change. In the fall of 2017, only 517 Latino students graduated from CU, roughly 9% of all those students that graduated. Yet, in the state of Colorado, Latinos make up 21% of the population. And in Colorado schools that are K through 12, Latinos make up 31% of the student population. Our idea for a solution was to mirror the work that UMAS had done in the past as an equal opportunity program. UMAS used to host summer bridge programs for Chicano and Mexicano high school students throughout the state of Colorado. And within the span of 4 years, from 1967 to 1971, it resulted in an increase of enrollment of brown students from around 28 students to about 1,000. Their goal, like ours today, was to, at the bare minimum, reach parity, a concept that is that the proportion of Mexican, Chicano, and Latino students represented at CU should be equal to the percentage of the population that they're coming from the state. Unfortunately, their work led to administrative backlash that ended the program in the early 1970s. After an immense amount of jumping through hoops, tugs, and negotiations, at CU, undergraduates managed to start our own summer program in June of 2013. It ran for a total of 3 days with about 20 high school students. We called it Aquetza, a Nahuatl word for lift your chin up, and its mission, to provide an interactive academic experience, focus on expanding our educational lens, building our leadership, and empowering both ourselves and our communities. We accomplished our mission through courses, workshops, panels, and activities that integrate 5 core beliefs that all of our participants, our counselors, and instructors engage in within the week. 4 of these movements we draw from Aztec epistemologies and ways of being. The first movement is Tezcatlipoca, which represents critical self-reflection. Through discussion and self-reflection, we explore who are we and what do we care about? What has shaped me and where can I grow? Allowing students and all of us present to look inwardly as a method of understanding the world around us. The second movement is Quetzalcoatl, which represents precious and beautiful knowledge. A personal favorite because it reminds us that knowledge is in my abuelita's stories, in our community sayings, and most importantly, in our very own lived experience. Both in our courses and through artistic expression, students begin to see themselves not only as holders, but also as producers of knowledge. The third movement is Chipetotec, representing transformation, which allows us to make space for theater practices and discussions around how we transformed in the past and how we can transform moving forward. This movement reminds me of one student in particular. He attended Aquetza first year, and unfortunately, due to a combination of behavioral misconduct and racial profiling on campus, we were forced to dismiss him a day early before the program ended. We told the student and their family that we were there to support them, en las buenas y en las malas. The following year, the student approached us and applied again. He shared with us that his behavior and commitment to his education had changed after his participation in Aquetza. He proudly showcased a binder of school work collections that had all been graded high A's, a contrast from the lower academic scores they had received in previous years. Transformation was happening right in front of us. The fourth movement is Huitzilopochtli, which means the will to act. Each and every one of us has the power to create change, and it can only take place if we push both ourselves and our communities to create it. In Aquetza, we look to this movement to dig into the issues that we are passionate about and to begin to explore what it could look like to begin generating change when we go back home. Some students have started their own student groups in their high schools. Some have talked with their teachers and changed curriculum to ensure that they're represented as well as their communities in the curriculum and pedagogy. And others have also done something very important, which is share the knowledge that they've learned with us, with their family, with their community, and with their peers. By the end of the week, we close the program with the idea of revolutionary hope and love. Over the years, we have learned that change is not easy, and often it makes us feel very defeated. Keeping hope and love at the center of our work is necessary. Often, it is remembering in Lak'ech, the idea of you are my other me, tú eres mi otro yo. Our annual journey through these movements is circular, messy, painful, rigorous, and invigorating. It's work that would not be possible without the undergraduate and graduate instructors that make space and hold space for vulnerability. Thank you to all of their work this summer, marked our 6th annual summer program at 10 days with 42 students in attendance from all across the state of Colorado. Truly a program for and by the students that we serve. I believe that as educators, administrators, and fellow humans, we need to make space to critically reflect on our values and ask ourselves, how do we consciously or unconsciously perpetuate systems of power? When will we not only acknowledge, but also incorporate the precious and beautiful knowledge that lives outside of academia? The knowledge we find between generations, in lived experiences, and in communities of color. When will we transform the ways in which we reach out to and retain the diversity of the students that we seek? And when will we be brave enough to act on the radical changes that need to happen, even if that means staff and faculty that truly reflect the diversity that we want to see in our student body? When I arrived at the university in 2012, I felt my hopes and dreams start to shatter due to both racism and exclusion. I had to push myself to find a safe and supportive familia on campus. The shared experience of marginalization pushed me and my peers to look at our past and create something both new and old. Something that would help our students of color feel empowered rather than frustrated. Something that would help them remember that they have precious and beautiful knowledge, and that they hold the will to act, and truly that they can perpetuate and ignite the revolutionary hope and love that we need. Today I stand before you as a CU Boulder graduate and as one of the co-directors of the Aquetza Summer Program, the only program on campus that is currently created, facilitated, and staffed primarily by undergraduate students that mirror the students we bring. My wish and my dream is that Aquetza and its students continue to grow, to challenge themselves and their communities, to continue to transform their lives and society, knowing that we will be there for them, en las buenas y en las malas. Thank you.